What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 15 of Monday Gunday. Today we're going to be covering the Shadow Systems CR920. So Shadow Systems is a pretty cool company. They've been in business since 2016 and they're out of Plano, Texas. Pretty much their mission is to supply higher end, kind of just like Gucci Glock style handguns at a very affordable price, and they've been doing that very well. So their goal is hard use, very reliable, high performing handguns. They boast a team made up of combat veterans, law enforcement officers, and competitive shooters, and they talk about guns being built for shooters by shooters. They make all of their gun parts in-house, which is pretty unique, down to their barrels, internals, slides, triggers, basically everything. They're based off of Glocks, but they do different frames. The CR920 is kind of a 43, but 43X, a higher capacity 43 is basically what I would call it. So going over some quick specs, it comes with 2 magazines, one 10-round mag and one extended 13-round mag. It has a barrel length of 3.41 inches. It weighs 17.8 ounces. It has an overall length of 6.37 inches. It has a width of 1.05 inches, and it has a height of 4.27 inches without the extended mag. So initial impressions are, it's a very good looking gun. It has a nice kind of bronze looking barrel, nice slide cuts, optic ready, cool trigger shoe. The trigger feels pretty good. It's still very Glockish, but it definitely has a crisper break and a little bit faster reset. A nice texture on the grip. But yeah, let's take it out to the range and see how it does on our 3 drills. All right guys, we are at the range with the Shadow Systems CR920. We're gonna go through our standard 3 drills, 2 build drills at 7 yards, 2 3R3s at 7 yards, and then we'll go back to 10 yards and run a B8 for accuracy. Starting off with the build drills, we're going to be looking at recoil control, trigger reset, stuff like that. When we do the reloads, we're looking at the ergonomics of the mag release and the slide release and the mag well, just seeing how fast you can slam a good reload. Then when we go back to the B8, we're looking at sights and how crisp the trigger is. We're going strictly for accuracy. It's not timed. We're just going to go for a straight 100 on the B8. So let's go back to 7 yards and start with the build drills. And I'll be taking my jacket off just to keep it consistent, because the last ones we were not running with the jacket. I'm also going to run with a little bit more extended mag. Just easier for me to draw, because if I were to carry this gun, I would get another one of these mags just because I hate the little pinky shelf. And I'll mention this, we mentioned earlier in the video, we're not going to be holding these subcompacts to the same ergonomic standards as we would a full size, just because that wouldn't really be fair, because it's a whole different category of gun. So these will be held to the standards of other subcompacts that we reviewed, like the 365. All right. Start off with a build drill. Stand by. Ooh, 3 out for a 233. That just shows my skill level. I think I stacked those 2 left shots. Did I only shoot 5? I thought I shot 6.
I think it was 6.
I think I stacked those first shots right on the D.
You got 2 there on the left.
Okay, yeah.
2 in, 4 out.
Okay, good. Actually worried there for a second. Yeah, these, I'll talk about it more, but I think you should always carry a full-size gun. Anyway, let's go for the second one, see if I can clean it up a little bit. Okay, that was a 232 with, I think, 2 out again, but the majority were in there. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of subcompacts, as you can see. Obviously, if I could put more time into this gun. I've only put probably like 15 rounds through it. I could keep things a lot cleaner and build up some more speed. But they're still just not fun to shoot. And you should be really good with your carry gun. You shouldn't be a liability with your carry gun. So I'm gonna go jam some more a little bit in there for the 3R3. So now we're gonna go for the 3R3. See how we do. Just make sure I have this set up for it. 1, 2, 3. Right now we're focusing on mag release, slide release, and the mag well, which is basically non-existent on this gun. Stand by. Oop. So that's not ideal because it got caught in the shirt, but I think we'll leave that in there because that is a side effect of running a really small, like micro compact or subcompact gun. There's just not a lot of real estate to grab onto when you're trying to do. But we're not going for like race gun reloads. We're going for like an efficient and effective reload, and they're harder to do with a really small gun. Make sure I've got enough in here. All right, let's see if I can fix this one. Stand by. All right, it's a 552. I clamped my finger in there because like when you're trying to reload, you have to move your pinky out of the way. And that one was clean. That one, my first reload, that one was out. But yeah, not ideal. It's still shootable. You should still train with it if you have to conceal to the most maximum amount of concealment, then a subcompact is probably your go-to, but I still think you should carry a bigger gun. But let's throw up a B8 and see how we do at 10 yards. All right, we got a fresh B8 up, so now we're gonna go back to 10 yards and test the accuracy. We're looking at sights, what their point of aim, point of impact is, where you're hitting with them, how crisp they are, how accurate you can be with them, and we're also looking at the trigger to see how crisp the brake is and just how accurate you can be with that all around as an entire package. So let's go back to 10 yards. All right, and as always, we're not timing this, strictly accuracy. All right, there's 10 rounds. Let's see how he did. Ooh, just barely a 99. Through one high. Look at that. I like that. But I actually like these SOTs. These are night fissions, or night, do they call them fission? Yeah, they call them fission. But they're nice. They're blacked out rears with tritium insert and then kind of the fluorescent green circle around the tritium, and they're pretty good. Point of aim, point of impact, I was just putting the green circle right in the center. Trigger feels good too. It's very Glock-ish, like these are based off of a Glock. The reset's good, but it is crispier than like a stock Glock. But it's not a terrible subcompact. I don't like them, but I'm gonna be as honest as I can and not just completely trash it. But yeah, as far as accuracy goes, it's not bad at all, only having put like maybe 20 rounds to this gun. So let's take it back to the armory and see how the score does. I should say before we get into scoring that I'm going to be scoring these subcompacts separately. So I'm not going to be doing, you know, apples to oranges with full size, high performing, nice shooting guns with a smaller, harder to handle compact. So these are going to be in a division of their own, so they're not just at the bottom of the barrel. So I'll be trying to give my most honest feedback and review based on subcompact standards rather than full-size standards. You guys know the drill, 10 categories, each worth 10 points, scored out of 100. So let's start off with cost. I gave it a 7. These retail for $7.99. I looked up a price at one of our local gun stores. So it's kind of riding the edge of being a little expensive. It's a subcompact, but you still get some cool stuff. You get a nice slide cut, you get a cool barrel. It's optic ready, you get nice sights, a good trigger. But the thing that kind of I didn't really like was only 2 mags. Even a stock Glock comes with 3 mags. So that is where it kind of caught it for cost. But yeah, I gave it a 7 for cost. Moving on to ergonomics. This one wasn't my favorite. Having only shot a few subcompacts, and the other one that we reviewed was the SIG 365. The SIG 365 definitely has better ergonomics. They do improve with the extended mag, but I'm not a huge person, but I do have slightly larger hands, and this part wasn't very nice. It just didn't feel super pleasant when I was shooting it. The reloads aren't awesome, but it's a subcompact. But I've shot a few other subcompacts that are definitely more ergonomic than this, so I gave it a 5. Next up is trigger, and I gave it a 7. It's very obviously a Glock trigger, but it's done up, and I think they did a great job. It has a nice trigger shoe. It still has that Glock rolling brake, but it does have a very abrupt reset that you can feel. It has a pretty decent wall that still rolls through the brake, but it's much better than a stock Glock trigger, so I gave it a 7. Next up is bore axis, and I gave it an 8. Glocks have pretty good bore axes, and this is no different with the CR920. It does have a little bit more of a beaver tail, which helps dudes that have a kind of a meatier hand, so you're not getting slide bite, and it definitely helped there with me. But yeah, good bore axis. It's still pretty snappy just because it's a subcompact, but the low bore axis definitely helped with the recoil control. Next up is sights, and I gave the sights an 8. It comes with night vision sights, so they have a blacked out rear and a neon yellow circled tritium dot, which I do like. I still found them to be a little big on target when we did our 10-yard B8. It kind of covered the whole 10 ring, which is pretty big at 10 yards, but they're still solid sights. They have kind of the jimping on the rear, it's blacked out rear, but I was still able to be pretty accurate with them. I shot a 99, and I think that's pretty good for this small of a gun. So I gave the sights an 8. Next up is aftermarket support, and this one was a little different just because it's technically based on the Glock, but Shadow Systems does a few changes to where the normal aftermarket Glock parts might not work as well. We did put another 43X slide on, and that was compatible, but I did try some 43X mags, and they fit and they'll probably run, but they won't drop free. So that's kind of a bummer. So I gave aftermarket support a 7 because it's gonna be good, but you're gonna be limited on some frame things. I do know they take different holsters, but we offer them, so that's good. But yeah, it's just kind of hard. I did try and look up. There's not a whole lot of stuff on the internet about what does work and what doesn't work with the Shadow System frames. So that's left up to you. But yeah, I gave it a 7 for aftermarket support. So capacity is up next, and I gave it a 6. And I'm kind of just comparing it to our other one that we reviewed, the SIG 365. And with these mags, this one holds 10. This is the non-extended mag, so 10 plus 1 and 13 plus 1. And the 365 with their extended mag is 15 plus 1. So there's lots of room for improvement on the subcompacts. They're getting higher and higher capacity. This is better than a normal, just Glock 43, but it's not quite as good as the competition, so I gave it a 6. Next up is serviceability. I gave it an 8. I would have given it a 9, but after trying the mags, like it breaks down like a normal Glock, and that's awesome. It's super easy to take down and service, change parts out. But part of serviceability is being able to use it in hard times, and these are kind of unique mags, so you won't be able to just snag a Glock 43X mag and use it. It'll run, but it's not gonna drop free, and that's just another thing that's not going to be it's not going to be the best thing to happen to you when you need to reload quickly if your mags are getting stuck or not dropping free. So next up is value, and I gave it a 7. I do think it's a good price for what you get. You're basically getting a Gucci Glock that's pretty nice. Good slide, cool looking slide, nice slide cuts, a good barrel, optic ready, nice sights, and a good stippled frame with a trigger. But I think they could add one more mag, and I would prefer that they add 2 of their extended mags, just because that's what I would carry with. When you're carrying this small of a gun, there's no reason to have that extra capacity. You're not gonna, depending on your size, but you have to be pretty small for this to be an issue with concealing. It does come with a pretty nice nylon zip up case that has spots for mags and a pocket for the pistol, but that's about it. So it kind of suffered in value, in my opinion, the biggest reason being the mags only coming with 2. I think it should come with at least 3 like a normal Glock, but yeah, not terrible. And very last cool factor, this is obviously subjective to the reviewer, and I gave it a 7. I really like the slide cuts. I think it looks good, but like value, I think it would be a lot cooler if it came with 2 extended mags. I didn't like the ergonomics. It wasn't super pleasant to shoot just because of that, but overall it's still a cool pistol. I would probably lean toward this if I was getting, I would lean towards this over just a normal 43, but yeah, I gave it a 7. So that brings the total score to a 70 out of 100. I think it tied with the 365. There's some advantages and disadvantages to both, but these are going to be put in a separate bracket for subcompacts so that they're not competing with full sizes, because there's very obvious drawbacks as to why this pistol wouldn't be as nice to shoot as a full-size handgun. But let us know what you thought about the scoring system. Give us some pointers as we start reviewing some subcompacts. Let us know what subcompacts you want to see on the next episodes. But as always, guys, stay strapped, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.